Let's start off with a very basic and easy set of polynomials to divide. Say you have 6x plus 12 and you're wanting to divide it by 2. You see, now it is very simple since you're not dividing it by a polynomial that also has an x. Say if it was dividing it by x plus 2, it would be a little more complicated. So let's divide this first. What you could do is simply divide both numerators by 2. So 6x divided by 2, and you divide 12 by 2. Alright, 6x divided by 2 is simply going to give you 3x, and 12 divided by 2 is going to give you 6. Therefore, this answer, when you divide it, it's going to give you 3x plus 6. Assuming you already know the process of long division, dividing polynomials is very much like that and has basically the same process, I would say. Now let's start off with an example of a more complex question. Alright, say you wanted to divide x squared plus 5x plus 4 by x plus 4. Alright. Now it's a little different compared to the normal long division that you're used to. Say you wanted to divide 24 by 2. You would say, how many times did 2 go into 2? It goes into it one time. 1 times 2 is 2. You'd subtract it. It's going to give you 0. And then you bring down the 4. Just like that, and continue with that process. But it is a little different here, since in the other spot for the division on the left hand side of the long division you have 2 terms. Alright, so basically what we'd start off with is we look at the leading term on the other the first divisor and the second. You'd see x squared and x, and you'd ask yourself, how many times does x squared go into x? And it goes into it x times, because x squared divided by x is simply going to give you x. When you divide terms that have powers, say you have x to the power of 3 divided by x to the power of 1, is simply going to give you x squared, because 3 minus 1 is going to give you 2. So you minus the powers. So 2 minus 1 is going to give you 1. So this is going to give you x. Alright. And now you multiply x by x. Going back here, so you multiply x by x is simply going to give you x squared. And you're also going to multiply x by 4. It's going to give you 4x. Simple laws of long division, you're going to subtract these. So x squared minus x squared, this cancels out, and 5x minus 4x is going to give you x. And now you're going to bring down the positive 4. And now you're going to ask yourself the same question. You're going to look at the leading coefficient on both terms. So you have x to the power of 1 and x to the power of 1. You're going to see how many times does x go into x. X divided by x is going to give you 1. So this is going to give you 1, and 1 times x is going to give you x. 1 times 4 is going to give you 4, and once you subtract these two, x minus x is going to cancel, and 4 minus 4 is going to cancel. You have a remainder of 0. So the answer for x squared plus 5x plus 4 divided by x plus 4 is going to give you x plus 1. Alright, let's start off, let's move on to a more complex question with a x to the third power. Alright, in this question we have 12x cubed minus 11x squared plus 9x plus 18 is a very long polynomial. It is beyond a trinomial, and you're dividing it by 4x plus 3, which is a simple binomial. Alright, so just like beforehand, this process is still going to remain the same. You're going to look at the first term of the leading term on the first polynomial, and you're going to look at the other leading term on the other polynomial, and you're going to ask yourself, how many times does 12x cubed go into 4x? So you're going to divide 12x cubed over 4x. So let's look at the coefficients first. 12 divided by 4 is simply going to give you 3, and x squared, so I keep saying x squared, x cubed divided by x is going to give you x squared. Alright, so now we could write the x squared term on the quadratic term, so 3x squared. You get 3x squared. Alright. So let's clear up some space right here, and then now you're going to ask yourself 3x squared times 4x and 3x squared times 3. So when you multiply 3x squared by 4x, you're going to get 12x cubed, and when you multiply 3x squared by 3, you're going to get 9x squared. Alright, so you're going to subtract these. So 12x cubed minus 12x cubed is going to cancel out. Minus 11x squared, and you're going to minus 9x squared. So that's going to give you 20x squared. And just like in long division, you bring down the other terms that you did not divide yet. So you're going to bring down 9x and you're going to bring down 18. Let me switch colors real quick. Alright, so just like the past step, you're going to look at the leading term right here. So you have 20x squared, and you're going to divide it by 4x squared. So 20x squared divided by 4x is going to give you 20 divided by 4 is going to give you 5, and x squared divided by x is going to give you x. So we now found the linear term in the quotient. So we're going to get 20x squared divided by 4x is going to give you plus 5x. So now you're going to multiply 5x. Let me move this a bit here. You're going to multiply 5x by 4x, and you're going to multiply 5x by 3. So 5x times 4x is going to give you 20x squared, and 5x times 3 is going to give you 15x. So 20x squared minus 20x squared is going to give you 0. So it's pointless. We don't need to do that. 9x minus 15x is going to give you 9x minus 15x. Sorry, I don't want to guess the answer. 9 minus 15x minus 6. Or is it 9 plus 15? Sorry, we're meant to do a positive 15 here because the negative and the negative will cancel out. So 9 plus 15x is going to give you 24x. Alright, and now we're going to bring down the positive 18. And now let's switch colors. Alright, so now we're going to look at the leading term on our linear term, 24x, and you're going to ask yourself how many times does it go into 4x. 24x divided by 4x, 24x divided by 4x, the x terms cancel out, and 24 divided by 4 is going to give you 6. Alright, so now we found the constant term in our quotient. So now we have positive 6. Now you're going to come back up here. You're going to multiply 6 by 4x, and you're going to multiply 6 by 3. So 6 times 4x is going to give you 6 times 4 is 24, and you're going to carry the x's to x. So 24x minus x is going to cancel out, and 6 times 3 is simply going to give you 18. And 18 minus 18 is going to cancel out. You get a remainder of 0, so that means 12x cubed minus 11x squared plus 9x plus 18 divided by 4x plus 3 is going to give you 3x squared plus 5x plus 6. Alright, that was some example of long division of polynomials. Something you should know about the long division of polynomials is that when you're dividing polynomials, say you are dividing 12x cubed plus 9x, and you're dividing it by 4x plus 1. Alright, so just note that you started off with the x to the power of 3. So if you end up with anything that is x to the power of 3 or higher, that means you did not do the right work. Because if you see right here in this example, we started off with x to the power of 3 and we ended off with x to the power of 2. What we end off with has to be a lower power than what we started off with. Alright, those are some examples of long division of polynomials.